Hi, I'm Brandon and I make art videos. So I've been thinking about how in the modern world there aren't these grand, magnificent cathedrals that are being constructed, or where we don't have any Michelangelos of our time. A lot of the reasons I hear for that are, we've lost our connection with the divine, or the West is going through a period of self hatred. So, those aren't conducive to creating a society full of beautiful art. I think there's a lot of validity to these claims because the church commissioned a lot of artwork. With the self hatred point, I personally believe that creation can only come from a positive place. Your creation can encompass negative themes or be about a negative theme, but I think that the source in which it comes from is generally positive. But one thing I've noticed that I never seem to hear anybody talk about throughout my reading of the Renaissance and my interest in art history as a whole is the fact that a lot of these sculptures were commissioned for the self aggrandizement of rich people, or the rich people in that particular society at the time was just on some, rich people shit. They wanted to buy expensive art, they wanted to show their status through their art. They commissioned great buildings, great cathedrals, great paintings, so that their legacy could be cemented in the artwork that they patroned. Since beautiful architecture and art were what people valued back then, the rich people valued back then, they poured their money into that. And that's why we see all of these great, advancements in art, or all these great works of art that appeared out of nowhere, essentially in the 1500s. What are most rich people focused on now? Stock options, shareholder profits, all of these type of things, which don't necessarily create anything valuable in the real world. So since our rich people are not focused on that, and we're not developing young talent to do all of these things, then why are we surprised that the world is so ugly and dull? Some examples I think about to prove this are the fact that Michelangelo's Moses statue, for example, was commissioned for the tomb of Pope Julius II. I assume it's because Pope Julius wanted to be remembered synonymously with a great biblical figure, and not just because he was a pope and people were more religious back then. Another set of examples: The Grape of Proserpina, Apollo and Daphne, Bernini's David, and Aeneas, Anchises, and Ascanius. These were all commissioned by Cardinal Borghese, not for his love of God or mythology, but because he was a person who was an art fiend and wanted to have beautiful art around him. And that's what he poured his money into. So ultimately, I think that the decline of art is due to the fact that the people who have money and power are not invested in art and beautiful architecture in the same way or at all like they were all those centuries ago.